card games and electric scooters. Now that's something I'd pay to see. Gandalf?
No. My boy, I am Father Christmas.
Alright, that would make more sense. What are you doing here?
I've been watching your Bros.Gaming videos, and they're not bad.
Oh, thanks.
Because I thought you've done an okay job, I've decided to give you a surprise Christmas gift. Your gift is whatever your heart desires. After all, I am Santa Claus, and I can make whatever wish you desire come true.
What I want? How about Dark Magician support that's actually meta competitive?
That's never going to happen.
I know.
Tell you what, I will help by subscribing to the Bros.Gaming channel and try and push you guys to have 100 subscribers by the end of 2022. How does that sound?
Oh.
And that goes for you as well.
What the f is a pendulum card? Hi guys, welcome to Bros.Gaming. My name is Brandon and welcome to the channel, and let's return to the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! This vlog will be covering the final weeks of Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments before all the shops close for Christmas and the holidays. During this time, I celebrate my birthday, Christmas, and attend a few local tournaments. Also, I just want to quickly say thank you very much to everyone that's viewed the series so far. Our latest video, The Downfall of Dark Magician, is now our biggest video on the channel. It is incredible to see such a response from people. I'm very excited to show you my Yu-Gi-Oh! Journey through the holiday period, as well as to tease something incredibly stupid I'm doing in 2023. Our vlog begins just before my birthday on the 11th of December, and about a week before I released Downfall of Dark Magician. At that time, December was a pretty busy period for me, so I didn't think I was going to be able to attend much locals, and so December 10th is going to be my last local until 2023. As a birthday present to myself, I bought 3 copies of the new Dark World structure deck. As you know from the last vlog, this is a structure deck I was really excited for because it's an archetype that I am very interested in working with, primarily because I love the danger archetype, and with the new Dark World monsters that are released in this set, including Grapha, I think we can play some pretty fun games with the deck. Now, I had a decision to make before I attended what I thought was going to be my last locals for the year, in that do I try and use the Dark World deck that I haven't really tested before, or do I go back to Dark Magicians? I can sure as f tell you, old habits die hard, and we are once again returning to Dark Magicians.
Why are you the way that you are?
Now, I know at the end of the last vlog I said I was going to put it away and try out something new, but in this current instance, my decks that I've been working on, which are either Dark World or Brand Despia, aren't ready yet, in that I don't have all the cards I want to have for it. So Dark Magicians, in truth, is really my only complete deck. So I decided to bring it to locals and see how I go. game 1 was against Fluffles. I don't know why I keep seeming to run into this deck, and I don't know why I keep losing to it. Even though I do keep losing to Patrick and his Fluffles deck, I do enjoy getting to verse him most weeks. He's a really fun player to go against.
Was it material? Something. I drew some. That's my.
Game 2 was against a new deck that I've never played before, and from my understanding of what the deck does, it's called Nurse Burn. The whole idea behind the deck is to burn my life points with various traps and monsters. Because of the nature of the deck, it had very little interruptions for what I was able to do, so I was pretty easily able to bring out my boss monster in Red Eyes Dark Dragoon and burn back. This was also a nice casual duel, as I was versing Aries. It was Aries' first time using the deck, so there were times where we stopped and I made suggestions on you could probably do this, or you could probably do that, and try and do this to me. While keeping in mind that I wanted to try and give her as much advantage as possible with the cards that she had. It was just a nice casual time. Whilst I do want to try and get better competitively, I do at the end of the day like casual playing. Game 3 was against Ryan in SUNAVALON deck. Historically in the channel, I have not won a single game of SUNAVALON, but this time was no different. I had a hard 2-0 against SUNAVALONs, and admittedly I made some misplays with Rebellion and Branded Beast and Rattle Gained. I'm still trying to figure out how these cards interact with each other. I'm still trying to figure out the lines of play when it comes to using Rebellion as well as a Branded Beast. But it is something that in the meantime I am going to need to work on, especially because I'll be incorporating Bestials into the Branded Despia deck going forward.
I think it will.
Game 4 was against TRAPTRIX. I've never versed TRAPTRIX before, and unfortunately my deck doesn't really have many outs to spells and traps. I don't actually have any back row removal, shockingly, even in the side, so I was a bit nervous going into it, and I've never played TRAPTRIX before themselves, so I didn't really know in what to do in terms of countering his cards. However, I got pretty lucky in that before he was able to set up any good things with the traps, I was able to get out one of my only negates in Dragoon, and I found that because I had Bestials in the deck as well as a few other cards, that even though I was interrupted through his various traps, I was able to still make the plays I needed to make, and I was able to win against TRAPTRIX. After a few hard weeks, as we saw in the last vlog, Dark Magicians are now back to winning 2-4. Whilst we're back at 2-4, there is still a lot of work that needs to happen with the deck, and I am finding that a lot of the time with the deck I am locked into Dragoon, in that whilst I love Red Eyes Dark Dragoon as a card, it's not really a win condition, in that most players in 2022 going into 2023 do know how to get around Dragoon quite easily, whether that be through Kaijus, Super Poly or other various means. So I do need to try and work out a way of not heavily relying on my fusions so much, because cards like Fusion Deployment, like Branded Fusion, do lock me into fusions for the game, and if I can't get into the cards that I need, I do find that I run into problems. What I am finding though is that through the Bestials as well as my Dark Magician monsters, I am able to get monsters on the board pretty easily. So in some of the games, I was able to link away into a few different bits and pieces. So that is something that I'm keeping in mind going forward if I do want to make more revisions to the deck, by including potentially some more link options. So if I want to try and go down a link route with the Dark Magician deck, I do need to get myself an access code. So the next day was my birthday on December 11. I got to spend time with my family and my girlfriend, and the thing with my family is they know how much of a nerd I am, how hyper-focused I am on Yu-Gi-Oh right now. A lot of the gifts I ended up getting were Yu-Gi-Oh cards. What I ended up getting was the Yu-Gi-Oh GX Speed Jewel box, which I'm going to be totally honest, I know nothing about. But the Season 3 Legendary Jewels pack, which is good for me because I can always get more Dark Magician cards if I want them. And also Maximum Gold Eldorado set, which means I potentially have a slim chance of getting access code, as well as some other really cool reprints in the set. hell yeah, I got access code. Can't tell you how excited I was to actually pull access code from the set. It's been a card I've been after for months, and I just flat out could not afford to buy it a single, so I couldn't think of a better birthday gift than finally getting access code, and now being able to finally use it in a variety of decks. Now during this time, because I was taking a break from locals, my main thing was that I was going to get back into collecting cards that I needed. And through talking to Yugioh players, I found out that Cherry Collectibles, which is a trading card store as well as collectible store in Melbourne, have like a $1 box in which you can go through and buy cards for $1. So I thought I'd give it a go and check out and see what I could find. Tell you what, I cannot speak any more highly of the Cherry Collectible $1 boxes, because I found so many cards that aren't meta defining, but a lot of cards that were from my childhood, or cards that you just don't find in the wild until now. A lot of the cards here are just cards that I've always wanted to have back in my collection. There's simple cards that like Celtic Guardian, which is an alternate art from a Millennium Jewelers pack, I think it is, by the Fierce Knight, or Summon Skull, which sells some elemental hero cards, including Sparkman, which I found out I didn't have until now. It was a first edition elemental hero Neos from the Power of the Jewelers pack. Yes, I know it's a common, but this hit me right in the nostalgia, and so I'm very happy to be able to introduce Elemental Hero Neos back to the collection as well. Got myself the Ajama card, I've got myself some Nordic cards, again, not because of what they do, but because I think the archetype itself is really cool. There are a lot of cards that I've actually been searching for quite some time that turned out to be in the box, and so I know going forward, instead of buying them online for like 10 or 20 times the price, I'm just going to go to Cherry Collectibles and check out the $1 box that they have there. The best two cards that I was able to pick up at Cherry Collectibles wasn't in the $1 box, it was in their display case. I picked myself up a starter deck Yugi Dark Magician. Granted, is damaged on the back, but it's a card that I've wanted to add back into my Yu-Gi-Oh collection, particularly because it is in the ultra rare art form. So I managed to get myself a limited edition secret rare Dark Paladin. That's another card that I'm super excited to have back in the thing again. For me, as a nostalgia collector, as well as a Yu-Gi-Oh player returning to the game, being able to find cards like this in $1 boxes or in displays is a really nice feeling. So this vlog took a pretty fun turn in that I had assumed that I wasn't going to be able to play more locals before the end of the year. However, Grand J Games decided to do one more local tournament before they closed for Christmas. This would also be Grand J Games' last Yu-Gi-Oh tournament before they close and move to a new location.
That's right.
Everyone was in good festive spirits, and we were all ready to have some fun games. And this time the winner of the Yu-Gi-Oh tournament wasn't only just going to win booster packs, but they're also going to win the kitchen table. The table is a pretty special part of Grand J Games history, which was drawn upon by local artists, and so it was a pretty valuable prize for everyone to go after. And again, because of the festive season, I still decided to run my Dark Magician deck. However, I did make slight alterations this time around, so during the time of recording this vlog, as well as editing the other one, I decided to join a Dark Magician group on Facebook to see what their opinions were on how to run Dark Magician cards and what deck lists are working and what are not working, and just to kind of see what everyone's thoughts are about the deck in the current metagame. Obviously, if you're watching these series, you know that Dark Magicians are in a pretty bad spot. Some people even private messaging me aggressively, kind of telling me that the deck is dead, don't do it, but I love the deck too much to give it up just yet, especially when I'm still building either my branded Despiers or my Dark Worlds. So right now I'm happy to stick with Dark Magicians and just try out a few new things with the deck. This time, with the deck list, I've completely shockingly removed the branded engine and trying out something a little bit different. So now that I have access code, I've decided to kind of lean more in towards Link monsters as well as some XCs. So I've incorporated a teeny tiny Kashtir package into the deck to kind of see how that synergizes with the Dark Magicians. Now the Cashiers are also pretty powerful with the ability to banish a lot of extra deck monsters, which is so handy in today's metagame, which relies so heavily on extra deck monsters. But whether or not I could actually pull off some of the plays, considering I hadn't actually practiced with them, I guess we'll just have to see how I go. Game 1 was shockingly a bye, but I was pretty lucky in that Karen was at the tournament as well as Corey, and they were versing each other right next to me, and funnily enough, Karen was running a branded Bestial Despia deck, and Corey was running a Dark World deck, so it was the perfect time for me to watch both of these decks that I'm looking to move towards and seeing how they interact with each other. Whilst it was fun to watch, Karen's Bestial branded deck was pretty powerful and did take the game, which doesn't really put me off playing Dark Worlds. I do think the Dark Worlds are quite fun, but in terms if I want to lean towards a more fun deck or if I want to lean towards more competitive, branded seems to be the way to go.
Come home. There's no better place. Waking up on
Game 2 was against Claire and their Brave Plunder deck. I've never played against Plunders. Didn't really know what to expect, how it was going to work, and I was really wanting to see if I could make any of my Kashtira plays. The game 1 of the Brave Plunder I won, pretty easily able to get a Secret Village lockout happening. Do you think that with any Dark Magician deck, Floodgates are the only way to go right now until we get better support? Whilst I know that the modern Yu-Gi-Oh community complains that Dark Magicians and Blue Eyes cards get a lot of support, in truth, yes, Dark Magicians do get a lot of support cards, but they're f***ing garbage. They are so bad. So until Dark Magicians can get better support, I think Dark Magician decks do just have to rely on Floodgates in order to win, unfortunately. Game 2, Claire was able to get into their Brave plays, and I realized that they had a lot of interruptions in terms of removing cards from my side of the field. I pretty quickly lost round 2. Round 3, I was very lucky in that I was finally able to make my Kashtira play of bringing out Dark Magician as well as Kashtira Unicorn, then getting into a few Xyz monsters, including number 89, the Mind Hacker, as well as Kashtira Shangri-La. Whilst I found that the play wasn't necessarily enough to stop them from being able to make the plays I needed to make, Shangri-La did buy me enough time to win. To be honest, I did only win because of time and that I had more life points. I do feel a little bit bad in that I know that a part of it was that I didn't really know what I was doing with the thing, so I wasn't necessarily intentionally stalling, but I know that I did take time in my plays and that I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I definitely know I misplayed a fair bit. I was still lucky to take the win and it was a really fun game, as well as being able to play against a new deck as well as a new duelist. Game 4 was against the branded Bestial Despia deck ran by Karen. What are we doing?
Let's go low, but it's just like no, there's no one.
I knew it! Your dice are loaded!
I know this deck list pretty well. Outside of the vlogs, Karen and I do like to sometimes play in Dueling Book, and he tests out his deck iterations on there with me, as well as me being able to use my own. So I'm pretty familiar with how his deck works, and it is phenomenal. It is so good in terms of recoverability and the way it plays, and I did not stand a chance against it at all. I think I was only able to make the Kashtira play once, so I do question not just the power of using Kashtiras and stuff to banish, but also the consistency. And that could be that I'm not running enough of them in the deck, and it could also just be that I'm not really familiar enough with them, but it's something that I'm going to go back to the drawing board. Pretty much my choices are here: either go into the fusion version of Dark Magicians, which rely on branded cards, or go into Kashtira and Bestials and try to go to Links and Xyz. The problems I just mentioned were definitely more apparent in my very last game, which I couldn't even call it a game, it was more of a massacre. It's against a recurring player on the channel, Kai, and his RYU-SHIN control deck. So I know Kai, if you're watching this, as well as your mates, you guys are awesome, so thank you for tuning in and watching. In those 2 games that I played, Kai won the die roll. He was able to quickly get out his RYU-SHIN Floodgate, and I didn't see a single card that I needed to be able to get through it. I lost pretty quickly that first round, and in the round that I was able to go first, I was able to incorporate some decent sides, but I have no idea what's been happening these past few weeks. Anytime I try to do my siding, I don't see a single card that I side, and it sucks. So unfortunately, the last game of the year, so the last game at Grand J Games, was a bye, 1 win and 2 losses. So with the closing of Grand J Games for the year, series regular Marcus was able to win the tournament, and he won the Grand J Games table, included in the bio Marcus's Telemans deck list. You're curious to see what he ran on the day. As this year comes to a close, I am so happy to be back playing Yu-Gi-Oh again. Reminded of how lucky I am to be surrounded by really nice people. I do know that by the time this video is released, it is beyond Christmas, so happy Christmas to anyone that's watching this. I hope you had a great day, and I hope you are enjoying your holidays. And I do plan on seeing you in the new year. It might be a little break between this vlog and the next one, but that's only because there is something big that's going to be happening at the start of the year. In the meantime, I will be putting out some videos from other games that I'm going to be playing with Ethan. So make sure to stay tuned with all that kind of stuff. Don't fret if you don't see any Yu-Gi-Oh videos for a little bit. I'm definitely not stopping the series. I love Yu-Gi-Oh too much. Again, that is only because I'm working on something pretty big to share with you guys. So otherwise, happy holidays. I'll see you when I see you.